You guys, this is going to be an interesting last stand tonight with Jay Campbell. Uh-oh, wait a minute. It says connect your live. Okay, it's doing it. Sorry, guys. I haven't done this on Facebook in a long time, so I'm behind the curve. But Jeffrey Doherty, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing good, Jay. Nice to be here with you. Unfortunately, I'm on YouTube timeout right now, so we're fighting that, and hopefully that'll be taken care of forthwith.
Yes, absolutely, positively.
But
So,
I'm
guys,
back in the bunker, ready to roll, bro.
I know, man. It's awesome. So Jeffrey got a weird strike against him on YouTube, which he's filed, whatever you have to do to file
Yeah.
against him. But it's probably fake.
Yeah.
Right? It's somebody from the David Hawkins family, which is bizarre.
Yeah, it says Susan Hawkins was the name.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. Cool, man. Well, so tonight we'll do a little bit interesting, a little bit different, because normally you're kind of the host from your channel. So I'll try to be the host from the Decoders of Truth tonight. Shout out to obviously everybody in the Decoders of Truth that's watching this. I haven't done this on Facebook in a really long time, and I see now that they have a completely different interface. So hopefully it's actually working. It does say we're live right now, right?
It does say we're live on Facebook, so I am confident that we are.
It's weird because it's not showing me that we are, so I'm kind of lost. But let me just catch it and see if it is showing it we're live.
I am digging your background though, Jay. It looks great.
Yeah, I swapped it around. I don't think we're live. So let me just go back to where we have to go live because it says go live. Let's see if it goes live now.
Yeah.
Setting up.
And I don't have a Facebook account, so I can't check.
Yeah, it's all good. I think it'll show us that we're live now. So it
does say live on Facebook. Well, that's nice. So Jay, how you were in the Dominican Republic, I understand, right?
I was, man. I absolutely was. Let me just make sure I'm recording this for your channel too. So we'll start recording now. Record on this computer. Okay, awesome. So we are recording. So guys, if you didn't, we just went live on Facebook, I think now. Sorry for the technical difficulties. This is the last stand, of course, with my amazing guest host, Jeffrey Doherty. And I will be the host actually today officially with Inside the Decoders of Truth Facebook group. Jeff did get a little strike against his YouTube channel, which we won't go into, but it's totally fraudulent. He's filed a claim. I'm sure hopefully he'll be back to active duty status forthwith. Jeff, before we jump into the topics and talk about anything tonight, did you want to talk about what's going on in your life right now?
No, I feel good, Jam. Back in the bunker, life throws you curveballs, but I was doing a little bit of whining. I felt a little bit bad. I've been eating some junk food. I've been, sleeping too much. So, you go through these little things, but I mean, let's face it, bro, there's people that have literally died for, trying to bring out truth. There's people that have, lost their lives and all of their money. And so, the little blip that I went through is just stupid, not even worth talking about. So let's rock and roll, brother.
Let's rock and roll. Yeah, for sure. So let me, guys, first off, again, appreciate you guys bearing with us this week. We're not going to obviously be live on Jeff's channel. I am recording this so that it will be uploaded to Jeff's channel at some point this evening. As soon as I upload it, I'll put it in my Dropbox. But I expect we'll have enough live people inside the Decoders of Truth watching this. So wherever you guys are in the world, thank you for being here. Without you guys, we wouldn't be me and Jeff. So
absolutely.
Totally appreciate you guys doing here. So let me pull up the topics here. All right, so we got a lot to talk about tonight. I know Jeff and I are going to go back and forth, probably try to knock this out in under 90 minutes. I watched this video that one of the Decoders of Truth shared with us, and it was, I forget his name, Alan in Ireland or England. He's somewhere over in Europe, and he posted it last night. He said, this is the Naughty Beaver video of all time. You have to watch this. This guy has completely decoded all of the religions, all the belief systems, and it's just broken it down. So it was late at night for me. As Jeff said, I just got back from the Dominican Republic, and I was tired. I was on East Coast time. But I did start watching it at 11 o'clock, and it was so compelling. It just sucked me right in, and I was literally watching it until I fell asleep, drooling at my computer with probably 20 minutes left in the broadcast, and I finished it this morning. I woke up early to finish it this morning. All I'll say, Jeffrey, is I don't know who Naughty Beaver is. Do you know who he is?
I do. He's a good friends with Derek Rose, and he's been in my chat rooms a lot, and I've talked with him, and I'll actually meet him next month out in Arizona. But he does not go on any channels. He won't come on any shows.
Okay, so that's why he must have responded to me then on YouTube.
Yeah, he's a bit of an enigma, Naughty Beaver is.
Well, he definitely knows us because he was responding right away to my questions, and then him and I went back and forth. Very professional, very classy guy, no doubt about it. I have nothing bad to say about him. But anyway, his video is really good. He's definitely, as you and I always say, he's done a lot of work.
Yep.
Okay? He's done a lot of research. And the profound revelation that I got out of his video, and again, I'll encourage you guys to watch it. It's already in the Decoders of Truth. So if you're watching this video, you already have access to the video. Of course, we'll post the link when Jeff posts this on his channel later tonight or early tomorrow morning. But I definitely encourage you to watch it. I've been sharing it with my inner circle. I say, guys, there's a lot of big reveals in here. But the very profound revelation, Jeff, that I had today, and you and I haven't even spoken about this today, was based on watching that, I now accept, and I think we kind of already knew, but the Anunnaki have been, and let's classify who the Anunnaki are. And by the way, at the end of this show, we're going to talk about the questions, start talking about the questions that we have for Bob Sanders and the Great White Brotherhood. And obviously that's one of the questions, but it becomes pretty clear through this video and all of the work that you and I have done, Jeff, that the Anunnaki are really the fallen angels. Okay. At this point, there's no other way to classify them because what they've done as they've been here, and they, by the way, have been here for who God knows how long, a long time, playing with us, manipulating this three-dimensional matrix simulated reality, creating names for themselves, because obviously they weren't the Anunnaki. I mean, they created that name in the Babylonian cultures and the Akkadian and the Sumerian cultures. But they've been around here manipulating everything, Jeff.
So are they even on Planet X or Nibiru or whatever people call it?
So I think Nibiru, Naughty Beaver calls it the serpent. I mean, again, I think it's more metaphorical than anything. Okay. It's probably a spaceship.
Okay.
Now, but is it a spaceship? Because remember, as the Great White Brotherhood have said about aliens, they're not really aliens in that they're trans-dimensional or astral more than they are physical. And again, this is what makes so much sense when you start thinking about all these people like our great friend Gerald Clark, like Sitchin, like Tellinger, all these people that have researched the Anunnaki. They talk about Nibiru, and there's millions of names for the Nibiru and the Colossus, all of these things, Nemesis. But it seems that it is a ship, but it's an astral or interdimensional ship that houses these beings, and it does come through, again, the galaxy. And remember, if it's an infinite, in the fields of the quantum, everything is infinite. There's multiple realities, there's parallel dimensions, there's planes of existence. You've got all of these different things. So if it is coming around at this every 3,600 years, and again, the years and the time don't mean anything, guys, because remember, again, in 3D, time is linear, but outside of this realm, time doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm. So could they come back anytime they want, Jay, or do they just happen to come back on a regular basis?
I don't know. Naughty Beaver says that they've been here for 13 years. Gerald thinks that they've been here forever. A lot of these people believe that they've been here forever. I think at this point, it's obvious they've been behind the scenes. Now, again, the Great White Brotherhood in their Aliens book talks about how, and of course, Gerald said this in his last interview with Chris Matham from Forbidden News, or Forbidden wherever he is. I'm sorry, Chris, if I forget your name. He might be watching us tonight. His company or his YouTube channel. They've essentially created us as remote controlled viewing devices. In our physical form, they
not very flattering, is it?
In our physical form, they have the ability to manipulate us. We also obviously know that the Archons who've come into this dimension, who in my opinion are separate from the Anunnaki, and they may not be, but I believe they are separate. They also have the ability to walk into us. When you're sub 200 integrity, when you are a low conscious human being, and you do not have control, you're not a sovereign soul, they can come into you too. And we all know, listen, a lot of people that are in political structure, that are of celebrity status, of high culture, they manipulate these people.
Absolutely. Just because you're a movie star, just because you're a politician, doesn't mean that you're high on the scale.
No. Money, right, Jeff. Money and power and fame do not equate anything at a soul or conscious level.
Exactly. So can they walk into people that are high on the consciousness scale?
I don't think so.
I don't
really
either.
don't. I think it's impossible. I think that if you are a powerful, conscious co-creator who's living and doing the work, as we say, all these things that we always constantly talk about, forgiving, loving, serving other people at your highest intention. If you're doing all those things, I don't think they can truly come in. Now, can they affect you? Yes. Do archons feed off you when you sink, when your consciousness drops down? Absolutely. There's no question. And when you're in giant crowded areas, especially like in bars or clubs or, places where there's a lot of wasted people, low conscious, drugged out of their minds, absolutely you can be affected by this.
Jay, think about what you've just said and, what we talk about with alcohol. And you think about the people that you've known in your life that frequent those places and have been in those places for years and years and years, and people that still have, trouble with forgiveness and with anger and with outbursts and with, lashing out. You put 2 and 2 together and you come up with 5, 6, 7, 8, and you really end up with people that have, they have like multitudes of archons. There's people that are walking around like the Legion of the Bible that are just filled with massive amounts of archonic infestation. That's the only word I could think of.
Yeah, Jeff, that's a really good point. And I'll be first to admit, in my early 30s, when I was making all the money and I was F you pay me, I was one of those guys. I was in clubs all the time. I was, living the jet set, ultra luxury lifestyle with my, at the time girlfriend who became my wife and stuff like that. So I've been in those crowds. I've been in that element. I've existed in that realm, and I've seen what, at that point I wasn't as aware as I am now / awakened, but I've seen it all, dude. And there's no question that I've seen people like completely infected, as you just said, by like these archontic infections where they just lose it. They go completely insane. And then you watch them and you're like, I don't know that person. How is that person acting that way? I mean, we now know that as soon as you descend, as soon as your consciousness and your awareness drops, they can just like a moth to a flame, just like Thoth says in the Emerald Tablets.
So, Jay, maybe being a preacher for my entire, young life, from my late teens into my 40s, maybe that did some good things for me. It kept me out of bars. It kept me out of drugs. It kept me out of alcohol. It kept me away from a lot of that stuff. And I've had people, say to me, well, boy, that's weird that you never did any drugs or never smoked or never drank much. But I don't think that's weird. I'm glad it happened that way. And, even though I've often said that I wasted 20 years of my life, I could have been wasted for 20 years of my life. So who says what's better?
Yeah, listen, we know this is a third dimensional prison complex. Robert Stanley sent me something the other day, which I haven't told anybody. I'll just share it right now on this, and love Robert, of course. Shout outs to Robert. Robert's going through a lot of stuff in his life right now. He doesn't want to do any broadcasts, so he's going to let us know when he wants to come on and do another broadcast. I'm sure it's soon. But he told me that what he has found out recently, and he's been decoding, he's been talking to Wes Penry. Wes Penry is active again, which is cool. Excellent. They're talking, but he said that we are actually in a prison within a prison. And there you go. If what you and I talked about last week or 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, all these shows are so good. They run into each other a little bit, but we talked about, Michael Tsarian's, that these beings, these Anunnaki, these, sons of serpent kings or whatever, were left here. And then they created this, void around the planet, which again, the Emerald Tablets Thoth talks about, the net, the etheric net. Robert's saying that it's actually a prison within a prison because the Anunnaki are imprisoned here. And so once they found out they couldn't get beyond that void, they created their own prison matrix control complex, like you say, to harness our soul energy.
Yeah. And Jay, give me the 3 or 4 things again that Hawkins talks about that you have to practice in order to be a high consciousness individual.
Forgiveness. Well, there's no order to these, but he says that forgiveness is the hardest, but forgiveness, even your enemies. Mm-hmm. So total forgiveness. Practicing loving as a state of being. So again, loving of all life. You can't step on bugs. Right. You can't swat flies. You can't beat dogs or shoot, can't go out and hunt and kill animals. And then obviously peaceful loving kindness, serving others with peace and loving kindness. So kind heart, smiling at people, shaking hands. And then what is the fourth one?
But, Jay, just with those 3, would it be fair to say that when we act in ways that are opposite to those principles, that we are opening ourselves up to archonic infestation?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. They live and breathe and feed off of soul energy. And remember, if what John Dees did to a quote unquote allow the Anunnaki access to technology that they couldn't get because they, after the flood and destruction, the ELE event, by bringing the archons in, they gave them access to technology, which seems to make sense, right? Because look what's happened, the acceleration of technology in the last
Absolutely.
ever since Roswell, the plane crash, the quote unquote, the ET craft, whether it was really an ET craft. Again, the Great White Brotherhood talks about these crafts as remote controlled devices from astral dimensions by gray beings who are somewhat astral and somewhat physical.
Yeah.
If that is the truth, it would probably have been a crash disk placed there on purpose, which is again what the Great White Brotherhood says in their aliens book. And guys, if you don't know where the Great White Brotherhood's website is, it's greatwhitebrotherhood.org. All of their books are free. Please read them. They're all mind-blowing. I'm actually done with John Bain's books now. Well, actually, there's a book on love that I really want to read. And then I'm also reading The Cosmic Keys, which is his last book. But I am going to focus hardcore on getting through all the Great White Brotherhood books. I have 3 left. I've read all of them except the newest. And there's one coming, so it might be 4. But obviously, I want to read those books before to prep before the interview with Jeff and I. All the questions we've already submitted to Bob. And Jeff and I will get to some of them today, and then we'll finish them on next Monday's show. The questions, guys, are good. Okay. Yeah. We've solicited questions from everybody we know in our inner circles and stuff like that. So they're pretty deep, but I may put it on Inside the Decoders of Truth later this week or possibly early next week. So you guys can read them and be versed in them. And then maybe you guys might offer or, posit some follow-up questions. I'll be happy to do that.
Jay, let me rabbit trail you for 1 second. Do the Great White Brotherhood address, I haven't found this, right before Roswell, 2 years before Roswell, maybe even months, Jack Parsons, who started the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and L. Ron Hubbard went out there into Devil's Canyon and opened up a portal, and they said something blasted through it, knocked them down, and was gone. Did the Great White Brotherhood ever address that? I've often wondered if that was the event that opened up the portal for the whole ET thing, because it just exploded from there.
It's very possible. I've read a number of books that say that Hillary Clinton was what came through, because they were talking.
Really?
Yeah, because she was born in that year. She was born in 1946.
Wow, that is fascinating.
Yeah, as like the quote unquote the opposite of the divine feminine. So I forget the book, but I have a book. It's on my shelves in my house.
And they were doing the Babylon working too. They were trying to bring in a female entity.
Well, that's the theory, is that it was Hillary Clinton.
I've never heard that before. That is
and these guys, I forget the book is called The Immortals, and it's 2 guys, and one guy's like a very a high level biblical scholar, and the other guy is just like you and me, like an esoteric researcher. And
if it was Hillary Clinton that came through, no wonder it scared the hell out of them.
Honestly, but back to like the original point is, it's so hard not to rabbit hole, Jeff, when we talk about all these subjects, but it seems like at this point, after watching Naughty Beaver's video, after doing all the research and all the work that you and I have done and all the books that we've read, the only thing that makes sense is really that the Anunnaki are the true masters of deception behind everything. And obviously one of the questions that we do have for the Great White Brotherhood is the hierarchy, because I know a lot of people want to know, like, what's the hierarchy?
What's the bureaucracy? What's the org chart?
If the Anunnaki are Lucifer, and the Dark Brotherhood. And again, I always default to, for me, the Emerald Tablets, because the Emerald Tablets is just so incredible. I've read that book, I think 20 times. And every time I read it, or something else I glean from it, with Thoth or however you want to, Hermes Trismegistus, whatever you want to refer to him as, talking about what happened in Atlantis.
I just got a huge revelation from that today, Tablet 12.
Yeah, how the Atlanteans, summons the dark magicians, the Dark Brotherhood, and the Dark Brotherhood, again, some form of the Anunnaki, some form of Archon, some form of whatever, interdimensional beings. To me, again, it's just all of the fallen angels. And
Moses wasn't an Atlantean, and that's why he summoned Yahweh.
Oh, I'm sure Anunnakin. All of these guys were. We know that Akhenaten was. That's where again, the story is that when the fall of Atlantis happened, and then Thoth and, the good quote unquote Atlanteans that went, establishing culture across the world to, re-energize the spark of life in humanity. The dark magicians, went their directions too. So there's always been this, like, again, the sons of serpents, there's always been this ongoing war. You know, this behind the scenes of the Sons of Serpents versus the white magicians, the White Brotherhood, the Ascendants, whatever you want to call them.
And they're trying to take us down, Jay. They're trying. If they can't take us down by frontal assault, they'll try to deceive us and take us down by a flanking motion. They don't care how they take us down or slow us down or get us off our game. They just want us off our game.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, again, it's age is old. It never seems to end. Again, watching Naughty Beaver today, you know, his, you know, at the very end, you know, he breaks some really good stuff down. He actually shows a carving, which is a biblical, you know, not a biblical, but, you know, I think it's an ancient Egyptian or may have been Sumerian carving, like in a steel of, and everyone's seen this, and it's very, very prevalent. You know, I'm not going to pull it up right now. If you were watching the Naughty Beaver, and by the way, I like how in his videos he brings up the stuff as he's talking about it so people can see it on the screen. It's really good to put pictures to it, but it's like a steel of probably Enlil sitting there with his mitre hat, you know, the Anunnaki symbol, and then it's got like this like fishing line. It's like this giant hook and then a line down, and it's the humans over here, and they're obviously really small, and the big Anunnaki. And then right underneath the Anunnaki is the box. And everyone's always like trying to guess what that box is. You know, Gerald's talked about that. They talked about that in the interview with the alien from Roswell. The domain was using this, trying to, you know, look around with this box. But he decoded it today. It's the first time I've ever heard anyone decode it. He says it's the soul of the human.
The soul of what?
The soul of us, the souls of humans. And that the Anunnakis
in
are
the box.
Yes, they're sitting on the box.
I just had a hit, Jay. In the book of Revelation, it talks about Yahweh, and under the altar,
that's it.
Souls of the martyrs. It's a box that he's sitting on under the freaking altar.
That's it. That's it.
Ooh, I got goosebumps all over me.
That's it right there. You literally just decoded it. I wish I could pull that up, and I probably can. And if people bear with me, let's do it because it's probably important enough to do this. Hold on. I do have the video.
That's what it is, Jay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, let me just get to the end of this so we can see it.
This is powerful. This is powerful stuff.
Guys, I'm sorry if you guys hear the reverb right now before this plays, but I definitely want to show this. It is pretty mind-blowing.
You know, I've never watched a Naughty Beaver video. I must admit, I never have. I just don't.
I never either. I didn't know who he was until last night.
Yeah. Eric's always talking about him, and like I said, he's been in our chat rooms a lot, and he's a good guy. I mean, I don't know if I agree with everything, but I can't wait to meet him in November. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You know what? I can't find it. I'm trying to skim through it. Yeah, I mean, it would be cool.
The thing that we have to do is we have to get to the place where we can put our ego aside and we can hang out with people that are smarter than us. We can hang out with people that have figured out things that we haven't figured out. How else are you supposed to learn? How boring is it when you think you got to be the smartest person in the room and when you can't listen to anything that doesn't go along with what you think you already know?
Yeah, exactly.
And you attack and you fight and you... Oh, I just don't understand people sometimes.
By the way, when is that going to be in Arizona in November?
I think it's the 28th or 9th-ish.
In November or October?
Of November. It's going to be right after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, perfect. Then I'll be around. I'll probably come up and see you guys. Okay, cool. That's good. I was thinking it was going to be early because I have so much travel coming up. But anyway, so the revelation of the Anunnaki being behind the scenes of everything is pretty obvious. He goes on to say that they're the interdimensional beings, that are quote unquote, the orchestrators of the cabal. Yeah. That behind the cabal, behind the globalists, behind, these secret societies that have been navigating, behind the scenes, it's all been the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki have been promising them money, power, fame, destiny, all of these things. And these sub 200 humans, integrity humans, sub low conscious 200, by the Hawkins scale, which we have right over here, which I can show right
Careful,
there.
You might get shut down.
I mean, the bottom line is that these are the people that rule this planet.
So, and Jay, when somebody's selling their soul to the devil, they're really selling their soul to the Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki are the devil.
Yep.
So let's just cut to the chase right now and end all of the riddles and games, even for myself, for you, for everybody watching, for the people that will be watching and recording. There is no Satan. Satan is a metaphor. Lucifer is one of the fallen angels. Now, Pinella and Robert Stanley and others, sometimes guess that there is like an inverted, in the duality of the polarity of this third dimension, that Satan does exist because he's the inversion of Lucifer. So there may be an actual being or entity that is Satan, but bottom line is that Satan and Lucifer are one and the same.
There's certainly at least a tulpa.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. There's no question about that. And obviously, Abrahamic religions have coded that into people's brains. I mean, think about all the people that think about the devil. Oh my God.
Whenever you go to church, Jay, the devil gets talked about more than God or Jesus.
Dude, let's not get us going on the Abrahamic religions. But yeah, there's no question. So they've been behind everything. I'm glad you said that, though, because they've created it all. They've created Dianetics. They've created, scientism. I mean, anything that came to the forefront that was a change of a religion is the Anunnaki. And remember, they're vying amongst each other. It's a war behind the scenes. All of these, factions of breakaway civilizations, of elites, secret societies, however you want to phrase them, they're all bits and pieces of the various Anunnaki factions at war.
So it's a turf war between gangs.
It's a turf war between gangs. We are on a chessboard, and they are literally moving to pieces. One of the things that was fascinating is in the Naughty Beaver video today, and again, he does a great job of editing stuff in. He was showing that Star Wars episode. Remember that one Star Wars episode? It was a movie, and it was with Kirk and Spock, McCoy and all William Shatner.
Star Trek. How do people show Star Trek on their videos and not get copyright strikes? And I mentioned the Hawkins scale, and I got a copyright strike.
He actually, who knows? He gives credit to it for sure. He puts it all in the back and stuff like that. But he said, or it was that one part of the Star Trek movie, and I don't remember which one it was, but what it was, if people remember on the show, if you guys are watching right now, just type it in. But it was the one where they had God there, and God was in his white robe and his beard.
Oh, yeah, I know that one exactly. What does God need with a starship?
Yes, exactly. And, dude, the way he encoded that was like, this is the Anunnaki. This is what they do.
That's exactly what they are. That's profound.
I'm telling you, dude.
Shatner wrote that. Shatner knows some stuff. I'm telling you.
Any single person who's in Hollywood at a high level, producer, director, Spielberg, Zemeckis, George Lucas, all these people are master masons. And if they're not master masons, they're informed by master masons.
Shatner wrote and directed that film.
Yeah. So, I wish that a lot of these people in Hollywood were as smart as we give them credit. They're not. It's always the truth. It's like, and we're going to get to this in a second, but it's like Bain says in his books, there are very few people that truly know what's going on, but there are a lot of people who are engineered to think that they know what's going on.
Yeah. And by the way, that movie is Star Trek, The Final Frontier.
Final Frontier, right. So that was an Anunnaki god,
And it was, Jay. I've never thought about that, but now that you mention it, I really enjoy that film. It's not one of the more popular.
I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I've watched every one of those. I've watched every original episode. I know all that. There was even the episode, remember we were talking about on the last show or 2 shows ago about when they were talking about all the different cultures in the universe, the galactics. I mean, this, like I said, Gene Roddenberry knows. He knew. Yeah, he was given all this information, 50 or 60 years ago. Yeah, and we'll get to the next topic. Final comment. This is the one thing that bothers me. These people that know. Jeff, we got to, ask ourselves this question, put it out there, but how can you be so, non-sovereign as a human soul, to have so little love in your heart that you do not tell anyone? Now, don't come at me with you're in fear for your life or they're going to kill your brothers or sisters. No. That's just, you're ignorant. You negotiated when you came into this planet exactly how everything was going to be. Don't come at me with this I care about my wife and my kids and my mom and my dad. Nope. They made the same deal and the same agreement when they came here that you did. So you are a coward. All of these people in Hollywood who will not tell, and obviously some do, they wait till their deathbed. They're like, I wanted to make sure that, all my family wasn't killed, because there is risk of death. Okay. But guys, death is nothing. The expiration of this meat suit that you're wearing means nothing.
Jay, I think they do it for the fame and the money. I don't think it's that complicated.
They do, bro. But that's what to me is so mind-blowing, because I would never, I used to say this, I won't say it here, it's not the right place and time, but for those of us that have sovereign souls, Jeff, we could never do this.
No.
There's no amount of money on this planet that I would take to keep these kind of secrets from this planet, from this humanity, which we're going to get into our very next point. It's a perfect segue, because the reason that we're blocked is because so many people are sub 200. Yep. They won't expand their hearts, which obviously allows them to expand their minds, to get out of this prison guilt control matrix shackle that everyone is hooked to.
But the real question is, Jay, why don't they even want to?
That's exactly, that's my point. And
we show them, we tell them, we demonstrate it before them, and they still don't want to be free. It's
like one of my good friends today in our group. I won't mention his name. Shout out to the White Dragon Brotherhood, our little inner circle group. But the reality is that most people, even when they're told with the truth, can't confront it, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. And don't want to. That's the thing that
literally look the other way. Exactly. Oh, I didn't see that. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I didn't see that. No, I don't. I'm comfortable right here in my little box, and I just don't want to know anymore. I want to, it's the old la 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 la.
Right.
And it just it's crazy, and we can't afford to get linked up with those kind of people. We got too much work to do.
The amount of cowardice that is on this planet, it's incalculable. I mean,
it really is.
I mean, it's mind blowing. I mean, the perfect example, Jeff, of that is like when you see now, and this happens all the time now in modern day society, but something tragic happens, a car accident, someone is injured, in a public setting, and no one even tries to render aid or assistance, but all of the freaking bourgeois clowns are videotaping it with their phones. Yeah. I mean, again, dude, we're in a world right now where you have to argue, like, how many people truly have souls and how many people are just bots. I mean, John Pinella says 70% of people are bots.
They might be, I don't know if they're bots, but they might actually be soulless. I mean, how many people? Yeah.
I think it's the same thing. I mean, that's what I think.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And there's even people that, supposedly woke and, that supposedly run in our circles that still don't really have the desire to change their lives and really live. They don't have any sense of mission. It's just like, I
mean, I always say this, like if something tragic happened right in front of you, right? You're driving on the freeway and a car flips over, right next to you, and everything stops and you're not in danger of dying yourself. Are you truly not going to get out of the car and go over to that car to try to render assistance? I mean, most people won't do it, Jeff.
That's crazy. Why wouldn't you? I don't understand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, people like you and me, that's the only thing we're thinking is, oh my God, can I get out and render assistance? Can I hopefully save this person's life?
Right.
Whereas most people literally will drive on by, or I swear to God, they'll get out of their car and they'll videotape it.
They should go to jail for doing
Dude,
that.
Honestly,
if you're videotaping and not rendering aid.
If I ever see that, do not be around me and do that.
Exactly.
I seriously may kill you. I'm not kidding you. I mean, it'll be very ugly and very violent, and it'll be very fast.
Well, you definitely won't have that phone that you were using to videotape anymore, because I will smash it on the road.
Oh my God. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Anyway, so real quick, let me just check the
another rabbit trail.
It's so good. It's good though.
It's amazing the low. I just can't. I really almost can't believe the world that we're living in.
It's I mean, that's where we're going with this. I mean, that's what Naughty Beaver ended up saying. His conclusion was there's no way this goes beyond 2024. And again, he's got a lot of codings and decodings. Yeah. He did say, and obviously you and I say this all the time, there is possible divine intervention.
Yes, there is.
He did talk about the Pleiadians and the Galactics and the benevolence, which we know exists. We know that Kabamir on Twitter has been talking about them. We hear all these stories that Trump is aligned with these white forces. We're going to ask that question for the Great White Brotherhood. I mean, clearly they're a force of benevolence. Everywhere I've ever read in my entire life of all these ancient texts, Lost Teachings of Atlantis, all these great texts, they all say that without the quote-unquote ascended masters, the Great White Brotherhood, these galactic benevolent beings, this place would be gone, Jeff.
And Jay, I found out over the past few months, there's people out there that we believe, or we've been told, or we've been sold, they're empty, they're bad, they're rotten, they're no good. But there's a lot of people out there that still have something within them that's just awaiting for it to be awoken. There's still
Agreed.
people out there. Not everybody's woke that's going to be woke. Not everybody's free that's going to be free. There's still people out there. We still have work to do. I've personally seen it happen.
I agree. 100%.
Miracles happen, and they're not, and we are in the miracle business. And right now, that business is a booming, cousin.
I agree 100%. And Naughty Beaver said that at the end of the video. He said, look, man, I wake up in the morning and where I'm at in my soul evolution is like, I feel the energy.
Yeah.
It's like, I can go into a meditative state. I can silence my mind and I can absolutely go into no mind. And I can know when because he was making this story up about, and I'm going to get to this in this thing. Cause as I told you already, coming back from Puerto Rico and witnessing the abject poverty, I'm not Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and witnessing the abject poverty, but the happiness and the happy-go-lucky attitude of the people that are there. And they don't have screens and computers and social media. They have humanity. And I just wrote about this in my newsletter today.
I saw that.
We'll get to that. But the truth is, and Naughty Beaver was making a good point or segue. He was like, look, I can't sit here and say and make fun of technology and say it's the great enslaver, even though it is, because he's like, I'm using my computer right now to talk to millions of you or hundreds of thousands of you. And without my computer, I would be doing hand signals and, tin can and a rope, right? He's like, so I do get it that there is a balance here, that there is some value to technology, but it's the overuse of technology and it's the total over-reliance on technology, which, Jeff, as you know, most of the younger people and the younger generations today this is all they know.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because just to get to that real quick, I'll just write it as a quick aside. That's what I wrote about today, was that most of young people today, and I'd say young people is like under 25, they grew up in a world where they have no worries. They have no concerns. They have no hunger. They don't go to bed hungry. They don't starve. But because they don't have worries and they have apps and technology that gives them access and grants them instant availability, they also never grow up, learn to deal, like create a incentivized life where you work for something and then you're getting something. Everything is just handed to them all the time. So they have this complex. But, I saw in the Dominican Republic, young boys who are 6, 5, 4, 7, years old who are working with their hands. They're using machetes. They're learning what it's like to actually be physical and embrace their physicality as a masculine man. And
they're not playing Call of Duty, Jay?
Dude, the women are the same. The women
aren't possessed by Snapchat?
Dude, there's no screens. Monica and I were sitting there at restaurants and we watch, and I've talked about this, people watch all the time and there's no one even there. Even the expats, the quote unquote white colonial European folks that are down there working and stuff like that, they're not involved in this. This enslavement that we talk about, this transhumanistic, globalist, AI, whatever it is pure the new Atlantis. This is here. This is the black magicians doing that they have created. This is not a global thing. And you have to step outside of the sandbox of North America and really Europe, the first world areas, to truly see that this is not endemic to the world. It's right here. This is where this is epicenter right here, ground zero in the United States for this enslavement. And again, however you want, this dopamine, instant dopamine gratification, video games, social media, like you said, Snapchat, selfies. I mean, it's insanity.
Yeah. I was talking to someone in Ecuador today and they said the same thing. It's not like that there.
No, it's not like in any of those Latin American cultures. And really, again, it's outside of first world, I would say, where people don't have the money or the means to have all of this, But that's what's so crazy. It's like, if you think about it, even in America today, in the inner cities, in the poverty, quote unquote, in the atypical or stereotypical impoverished areas, Jeff, everyone still has, these screens, tablets, laptops. Because again, the consumerism, the debt-driven society, the debt enslavement, it doesn't matter here. So there's no one, even poor people, quote unquote, that don't have this. So it's endemic from the top of the social scale down to the bottom, dude.
That says something.
It's nuts, man. Anyway, the second topic, and I really want to spend a little bit of time on this, because it's so profound. And again, if you're not on my newsletter, guys, I'll put the link in I think most of the people in the Coders of Truth are on my newsletter. But if you're not on my newsletter, please get it, because I'm spending a lot of time now writing very awesome emails on Monday. I break down a lot of these books. This
Jay,
book
I'm
is
impressed. I'm impressed that your highlighter is coordinated to the book.
I wanted to keep open the page so I wouldn't be fumbling through it because I have so many sections highlighted in this. But this book, guys, is the most profound book that I have ever read in my entire life. Okay, and I have read a lot of books. From an esoteric level, I probably read over 650 books in my life now, and I'm not a skimmer. I highlight every one. I have ink and paper on my hands. I'm not reading digital. I'm not listening to audiobooks. I'm reading and I'm studying and I'm taking notes. So this book, The Secret Science by John Baines, I know Jeff
Unless you think I'm a hypocrite, I got it too.
Jeff has it. You guys, this book, and it's not just for men. You know, he writes from a very patriarchal stance, but it's very much for women. There's sections in this book about love and relationships that are so profound. You may, if you're in a relationship that you struggle with, you may think about walking out, because he pretty much tells you like it is, of like what it's like to bring a life into the world, what should be actually happening, the sacrosanct aspects of what should or shouldn't happen when a woman gets pregnant. I mean, this book is
So you're saying I really need to read this, Jay?
Dude, what are you talking about? I was sending you stuff in this book all along, but he wrote a follow-up book to this, which I'm not in yet. It's actually, I have it with me. So he died.
Secret Science, ladies and gentlemen, John Baines.
So he died on February 3rd of this year, and his real name in real life is Dario Salas Sommer. John Baines is his pen name, his pseudonym for his writing. But on his last book, he used his real name. Now, I have a feeling that the people at the Hermetical Institute that he founded, which is, by the way, one location in New York City, but most of his locations are in Latin America. He's also in Russia. He's famous in Russia.
Wow.
So I have a feeling, this is just my opinion, that this guy was probably literally the Hermetical master of modern times.
Somebody told me the Christ spirit was going to come out of Russia.
Well, all I know is that this guy is, like, not going into the story, but I know that he was David Hawkins, or the spirit that moved David Hawkins is the same spirit that was in this guy. I already decoded that. But so anyway, this is his newest book, Cosmic Currency, The Greatest Wealth. And this is like a lifetime, a compilation of all of his amazingness.
Wow.
So I'm about to get into it. But
this is the first one, Jay?
The first one, he wrote, so this is what's crazy. So he wrote Stellar Man.
Oh, that's right.
First, but Stellar Man is supposed to be the second of this book, which came out 9 years later. So it's kind of a brain teaser, because you wouldn't have been able to read this book in advance. So technically, this is supposed to be the first book, and you're supposed to read Stellar Man after, which anyone can now, but you wouldn't have been able to if you were following this guy's work. So obviously, being the Hermetical master that this guy was, and being very coded, and he, at the end, it's a mind trip. I'm not going to talk about what happens, but it's very encoded. These Hermetical masters are hidden. They are not anyone of substance or fame. He talks about who they can be a beggar on the street, or they could be a super wealthy business person. You'll never know who they are, and they never, ever do anything for fame, money, or prestige. It's all done. They have a mission to accomplish and improve the betterment of humanity. But so the only thing I want to talk about this book, and there's so many things to talk about, but the one thing I wanted just to read, and obviously if you're in the Decoders of Truth, I put the prayer that he gives you. So this is what he says: the highest ideal of the secret science, which is known as occultism, which is really the study of hermetics, okay, is to attain world peace under one government, doing away with all borders between countries, so that only one people will exist, the people of Earth. Now think about this, Jeff. Go back to our—
That scares patriots, though, Jay.
Hold on. Okay, of course it does, because patriots are brainwashed. Right now, everybody is like going to this nationalistic mindset, because the world with the globalists and the one world is not an actual world of peace and freedom. That is a technocratic world where there's, again, ruled by a select few, like a
it's an oligarchy is what it is.
A technocratic oligarchy, yes. And it's all hidden. The oligarchy is the Anunnaki.
And if you don't know what an oligarchy is, look it up.
A technocratic oligarchy, which is a rule by a select few.
Yeah,
which is
the few rule the many.
Exactly. Which isn't the humans, by the way. Okay?
Right.
Hello. So, but let me just finish this. He says, for this to come to pass, the Christ, not Jesus Christ, the Christ would have to return to earth. So think about that. So we've talked about this before. We know that aliens, which are everywhere and on many planes of existence, are dimensional beings. Okay? So what is the Christ? A dimensional being.
Yeah.
Most likely the son of the real one true creator of all. Not the little g's of all of your stupid religions that you think you believe in.
And think about it, Jesus.
Dude. In the form of a new Messiah who would again fight to enchain the beast. Hello? It's right here. The beast.
Wow.
The beast, however, is not the Anunnaki or Lucifer or the dark minions or the reptilians or the archons. The beast is inside us. Because the Anunnaki raped us and tweaked us. The fallen angels had sex with women and they interspersed their DNA that way. And then we also know that they took us in our base fashion, whether it was Cro-Magnon or whatever, Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon together, and they created us. And what we have in us is that base demonic reptilian snake-like, again, Jeff, you're humans and reptilian, the snake and the serpent and the dove. That is the beast. The beast is them and their DNA abortion or whatever they did to us. And the Elo human, the dove, is our higher self, which God manufactured in us when we were an actual pure species that descended from the divine feminine masculine single pole.
Right.
So, I mean, it's all in this book.
So it wasn't that we weren't right for this earth. It's that this earth wasn't right for us.
Right. Once they tweaked us.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying.
Are there any pure Elohumans left?
Good question. Yes. My guess is yes. And they've evolved to the point of where they're like the Agarthans or whatever they are, this like ancient advanced race of humans interdimensional in the inner earth. This is where it gets crazy again too, though, and I've read so many of these books. Like the inner earth really isn't like the hollow earth. Like if you drill down, sure, there's beings down there, but it's more dimensional.
Right.
So it's like not where they could be right next to me and you right now on this broadcast, but they're in a different dimension.
Yeah.
Because of our limited, prism of vision, our prism of three-dimensional prism vision, we can't see.
That may very well be, Jay.
I mean, Jeff, I would think it has to be. I mean, what we don't understand is time has been edited by, the Anunnaki, the Smithsonian, and all their, physical entities that they control. We don't have any idea how many ages and epochs there have actually been. There could have been 20 Atlantises. If you read Helena Blavatsky in the Secret Doctrine, I mean, she talks about the root races. She talks about millions and millions and millions of years back forth of human beings and human, constructs from cultural constructs. It's all in there, but no one knows, dude. It's all just, for me, it's guessing. But I'm guessing at this point, the Anunnaki have been involved for a long time. And God has allowed them, through this devil's domain. Again, we know it's in the, what do you call it? What's the books? The Nag Hammadi. We know that in the Nag Hammadi and also in the Bible, Jeff, it's the devil's domain. This is the world of the devil.
Yeah.
Right. We know that. So if the Anunnaki have been quote unquote the devil, the fallen ones, whatever you want to call them, the Nephilim, for all this time, or however that amount of time really is, defining it in three-dimensional terms, then he's allowed them to be this because it's the test. It's the soul test.
And sometimes we get put through things, Jay, that we think are bad, but they're really for our testing and our learning and our development. So in the end, they're really good. I've come to the place where I almost think there's not really bad things or good things. There's just things, and we assign our own value to them.
Absolutely. Don't play the game. Don't take a side, as Derek Rose says.
Yeah, don't take a side.
You can't take a side. You just, it's not easy, man. Mm-hmm. When you have kids, when you have a wife, when you have a husband, when you have relatives, when you have employees, when you have people that depend on you, you're going to be pulled into the matrix game. You're going to be pulled into the physical material realm of form, which is all we're in. But, you have to be able to change your state and to realize that thoughts are just things.
So I should be thanking God I'm single. Thank the gods I'm single. I got nothing to worry about but me.
I mean, right now, let them go by. I mean, obviously, remember, though, the greatest form of experience as a human is to give and receive love. So when you're not giving and receiving love, and you can obviously be single and giving and receiving love. And by the way, he says in the book at the end of this, to truly be a Hermetic scholar, to become a true initiate, you have to give up personal life. Now, he's not saying go into a cave. That's a big difference. You don't have to go into a cave. You don't have to meditate with yogis in Pakistan or Tibet, but you do have to sacrifice personal life for the betterment of everything, which again is peace on earth.
So that means no personal relationships, no,
you can definitely have personal relationships, but you definitely cannot have a wife and children. No.
Yeah.
And if you do, you have to relinquish them. Yeah. Because again, you're not for personal.
I know a lot of people think that if Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah was a real person, a lot of our friends think that he was married to Mary Magdalene. I don't buy it, Jay. If it was a dude, I don't think he was married. I really don't. I don't think he had kids.
No, he wasn't. I mean, Jesus was, the Christ. And so many people are brainwashed, bro, because again, of Abrahamic understandings and teachings and thoughts. And again, it's all wave thought form. And it's very difficult to separate all this. But when you read at these levels that, people like you and I are reading at, you start realizing that everything that we believe or we're taught is mythical. Again, truth with error.
Yeah.
To give us more of a semblance of what we assume to be reality, when in fact it's usually the opposite of the truth.
Just because Dan Brown wrote it in the Da Vinci Code doesn't mean it's real.
So I just want to read this to you guys in case you didn't read the post. It just says, this is a prayer, and I've been using this, by the way. This is in my calendar, and I do this prayer twice a day. In the name of my immortal spirit, I ask for peace on earth, that love and fraternity reign in the heart of all men, that Christ should have the power and the strength to overcome evil. So again, guys, evil is very real, okay? That the light of the Spirit triumph over the darkness of ignorance, that now and always there should be peace and love on earth. So John Baines, Darius Somner, whatever you want to call him, says that this is the most important component to evolve life to a way to break out of this Anunnaki prison matrix control system, this simulated reality.
And Derek Rose is getting a lot of shout outs on the show, but he sent me a text today that said, and I erased it, I deleted it, but it said, anyone that is not characterized by reasonableness in all of their communication has lost the father and will never find the mother or the son.
Yep. I'll just end this last one, then we'll go into the questions. Nevertheless, the power of powers is the power of love. Yet who is aware of and truly knows a true and genuine love? Who is able to love thine enemy? Again, David Hawkins. I'm telling you, Jeff, this is David Hawkins.
I learned that lesson, Jay. I learned that lesson huge, loving your enemy.
To have a love of simple things, love for animals and even inanimate things. This is the most important thing. It's love.
Have you been looking more into veganism?
Not really, because it's just not practical for me right now with my world traveling and who I am and who I'm talking to. And it would just be really weird to have to defend that. Not to say that it's not the right thing to do, and I may eventually go down that path. But right now, for where I'm at in this place and time and all the things I'm trying to do in my life, it's not something I want to get into.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
I can't have the physical issues that I could, and I may not have any of them, but I don't even want to entertain the idea that I may have physical issues because I'm so focused right now on being peak brain power.
Yep. But Jay, I've got to tell you, that whole thing that Baines brings up about loving your enemy and making peace with your enemy, that was, this whole thing I just went through, that might have been the lesson that I was supposed to get. And it was amazing, profound, miraculous to be able to hate someone with my entire being and them hate me with their entire being, right. And to have that transform into the place where we're fast friends. It really is an amazing alchemy.
Yeah.
And it's like more amazing than falling in love, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I don't. We should probably spend a whole other podcast just going over about what he talks about love, because it's so absolutely mind blowing. His statements about, like, oh, dude, he talks about the Oedipus complex and the Diana complex, and it's just again, this is the most profound book that I have ever read in my entire life, and that's saying a lot. I am a very deep, voracious reader. I've read almost everything.
Yeah.
I used to think that the Secret Teachings of all time, by Manly Hall was the best, but this book is beyond that. I mean, this book takes that knowledge and takes you down further rabbit holes and says, like, look, man, you don't have to believe it, but here's how I can prove it. And then it's just like, whoa.
Boy, that is something to say, that this surpasses the Secret Teachings of all the ages.
It's the most profound book I've ever read, man. I mean, the Secret Teachings of all ages is obviously a compendium of the history as Manly Hall saw. And clearly Manly Hall was moved by probably, walk-ins, whether it was Thoth or some, advanced. But this guy is, I'll just leave it as this. When you become an actual initiate, when you cross over and you take control of the beast, which is, again, your animal instinct, your animal nature, which is half of you, and you completely take complete and full power of your soul, and you have no ability to be enchained. I mean, you are technically, as he says it, he describes it very accurately in the book, you are, your higher self is not in this realm anymore.
Yeah.
Your physical body is here, but your higher self is now your conscious manifestation of your spirit and your soul, your unity of your spirit and your soul. That's not even here. So imagine that you are such an elevated, you're a stellar man. That's his definition of it. Or woman, that you are not even here, but your physical being is here.
Did you get this bookmark in the book that
you
bought?
Dude, he does that. See, that's the whole thing. So
wow.
I sent that to them, and they responded, which I've told you, and we're not going to talk about that on the show.
Okay.
But that's the key. So if you buy the book and you follow up and you follow their, instructions, they're recruiting hardcore now.
That is amazing.
So Jeff, I'll just say it. So guys, if you buy the book, they give you a bookmark, and they give you the matrix encoding of how to become a stellar man or
we shouldn't even tell people about that. Let them discover it for themselves.
Well, no, I mean, I asked the guy, is it okay? And he was like, it's absolutely okay for you to talk about it on your shows, but we want people to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
Request it.
So don't ask us for help on that. You got to do it yourself.
Exactly. So the last topic, and we'll just jump into them. I mean, so Jeff and I have created 20 questions for the Great White Brotherhood. And by the way, Jeff, I was going to tell you, we got to move, and I'm going to send an email to Bob, and I'm sure he'll be open to it, but we got to move it from Friday to Thursday, because I've got Matthew Ferry Friday night. I totally forgot. So I don't want, I want to make sure. And Bob says it doesn't matter what time we'll do it. So I think we should probably do it around 7:30 or 8 on Thursday night.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I know you get massive traction around 8 o'clock at night on the East Coast, or 11 p.m. of all times. So we'll
it's crazy.
I'll let them know. But anyway, so these are just some of the questions, guys. I'll just read them really quick. And these are profound stuff. So the first question is, who are the Anunnaki? Are they the Nephilim, a.k.a. the fallen archangels, not angels, archangels?
And Jay, we actually believe that Bob's going to be able to answer these questions.
He already said that he's asking the Great White Brotherhood. That he said some of the answers to your 20 questions I already know because of my communications with them.
Wow, this is going to be epic.
We need to have, you guys that are watching this, you honestly need to tell everyone that you would consider aware, woke, however you phrase them, that they have to watch this live. Because this has never happened before. I mean, everything that Bob has ever put forth on YouTube, and he's put forth a lot, has not been in a way that he is going to be asked questions live. And he as you know this, Jeff, he's not going to make anything up. So he wanted to see the questions in advance. I told him straight up, though, I said, look, Jeff and I will probably try to throw some curveballs at you. And he says, well, Jay, you have to understand I am not a fraud. I will not make anything up. If I don't know something, I will just say that I will get back to you.
Good.
But the questions that you guys are giving me, I am sending to them, and they are preparing the answers.
This is excellent. I can't wait.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, I mean, I'll just finish these first questions. So
Please.
this is all one question. So who are the Anunnaki? Are they the Nephilim, a.k.a. the fallen archangels? Is Yaldabaoth from the Gnostic teachings, a.k.a. Lucifer, a.k.a. Enlil, a.k.a. Yahweh, a.k.a. Jehovah, a.k.a. the Lord of Abrahamic religions. How does Marduk fit in all of this? Is he at war with Enlil always, or does he serve a dual purpose? How can you define the Archons in comparison to the Anunnaki? Are they a parasitic form of artificial intelligence, a black goo species in effect? So that's question one. So again, you guys can
black goo. Boy, we need to talk about that, don't we?
Oh, well, I'm very, very versed in the black goo. Alfred Lamont Weber is the guy on this planet that I know of who's done some very deep decodings of that in his books. I mean, basically, the black goo is the originator of that disease that they have no understanding of, Morgellons, that all these people on the world and this planet have basically found. It's like some sort of an artificial microbial, like filamentary microbe that gets into the skin and causes a massive,
like pulling feathers and stuff out of them and just all kinds of weirdness.
Yeah, it's so horrible, man. I've read some stories of people that I actually know. I knew of a friend of a friend of a friend that had Morgellons up in Northern California, and I read their personal accounts of like what it's like and how medicine just ignores them because medicine has no way to do anything. I mean, listen, we already know that medicine is essentially quackery. Okay, anything that's in the sick care system of today is just a sham. You have to go out of the pocket. You have to work with optimizations physicians, people like Jeff and I work with, who understand how to be proactively help you. Not saying that all medications are not effective. There are medications that when you use them in the way that you need to use them, but almost everything that a sick care physician will prescribe you is not helping.
And if you break your leg, go to the emergency room. If you cut yourself, go to the emergency room. Don't be stupid.
But for anything else, it's a reach. I won't go down. I won't go any further. The second question, and again, we're only giving you guys 3 questions, and then we'll answer some questions if we have them. The second question is Enki and his son Thoth actually in service and benevolent to sapiens, meaning us, to our cause? Or are they more neutral, playing their role in this board game of life, appearing at opportune times as incarnated humans, which we both believe for sure they are, to serve a purpose of human advancement? So, you know, in my many conversations with Gerald Clark and the many broadcasts that we've done, we talked about this in the Secret Teachings of All Ages. Manly Hall is almost like giving you the cipher through the whole book of these times that Enki, Thoth, or whoever they are, these manifestations, you can even say Babaji, you know, show up to serve a purpose of advancing human kind. You know, there's this amazing character in the American Civil War, not the American Civil War, the Revolutionary War, called the Professor. And he was this tall, like Ichabod, and maybe that's where maybe this is where the archetype for Ichabod Crane comes from. But he was this tall Ichabod Crane type character that had no face, but was like conscientiously voting, showing up at these opportune times when it seemed like during the Revolutionary War, the Continental Congress was going to unravel. So there's many times in history. There's a lot of times in history where we've had these beings, people, quote unquote, show up to advance our cause. So anyway, that's the second question. And the third question is, who is controlling, which is, again, this is my favorite question. Who is controlling the political elites of the deep state, i.e. the ruling cabal of Earth, the royal bloodline families? In the Emerald Tablets, they were described as the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Are they archontic parasites, or are they reptilians in the guise of human beings? So again,
Could they be Anunnaki, Jay, or no?
I mean, I think that they are. I think that, but, you know, again, because so many people say that archons are the Anunnaki, and, you know, when you decline the word in multiple root languages, there is a correlation or a connotation between Anunnaki and archon, because archon means ruler. So I think it's possible, but I do believe that, again, if I go back to the Emerald Tablets, when they decline the Dark Brotherhood, they call them the Dark Magicians, the Dugpas.
Yeah.
Which is this, like, whatever they were, my guess is the Anunnaki. And if they're dark magicians and they're working in the astral realm, and again, the White Brotherhood talks about this in the Aliens book, they have the ability to conjure these spirits, these beings, these astral interdimensional beings of demonic form. They are demonic, 100% negative. that I would think that they could be anything. And so maybe the reptilians are just a species of, alien / astral beings that are, bloodthirsty, conquesting, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're actually a species, as many people have said, that were here before humans, dude. If and again, the time and the bullshit, there's so much BS with time.
There is.
Were the dinosaurs really here before us? Or not? We know that Michael Cremo, the famous, archaeologist, has, decoded that there were many times that humans and dinosaurs were together. Okay, so this BS they give us of the Cretaceous and the Jurassic and 700 million years ago, and it's all BS. None of it's true. They have no way to carbon date. They have no way to radioactive isotope or isonomer date. It's all nonsense. So no one knows, but there's been tons of fossilized, evidence that has human bones, human footprints, human tools, right next to, flash frozen dinosaurs, woolly mammoths. So, there's a lot of BS. We know that.
Wow.
But, were the dinosaurs the first life forms that evolved on this planet? Again, who knows how many years ago? Maybe it was 100,000 years ago. Maybe it was 500,000, a million. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And then were the reptilians or the reptoids the natural, de-evolution of the dinosaurs? And really, it wouldn't be a de-evolution; it'd be an evolution, right? Because they became smarter and more bipedal and all that. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's a good question, Jeff. These are questions.
The more we know, the more we realize we don't know.
We know nothing. But these are great questions for the Great White Brotherhood because, as I end up saying, I'll finish the question: are they archontic parasites? Or are they reptilians in the guise of human beings? Or can they be both? Please answer each component of this question. So here's where I want to go with this, and then we'll finish. If there's some questions, we'll answer some questions real quick. I'm sure there are. That guy Deke on Twitter, whoever he is, he puts out some amazing stuff. And, he's talking about this he keeps calling it the Draco reptilian matrix deception, the AI, that this is all, again, we know it's a simulation, but it's all a script. And again, Pinella talks about how the script and the tape runs out. This is all just a time machine type thing. We're all just bots, not bots, but we're all just taking part in the simulation. Maybe the reptilians are the biobot, astral demonic forms of their slaves before they enslaved us.
Wow.
I don't know. But it stands to reason that if you think about that, since whenever we started, who knows how many years, maybe 1 billion years ago, maybe 100,000 years ago, no one knows. But if the Anunnaki have been here since the beginning, right, and it seems to make sense that they have been, because if the war in heaven was them, the fallen angels, deciding to come down here and then God allowing them to create their 3D prison matrix, then it should be that they've been here since the beginning, Jeff.
Yeah.
So they have been tweaking us, and they have been playing games with us, and they have been moving us around on the chessboard, and they have had multiple races, and they have created multiple life forms, i.e. reptilians, which is what Michael Tsarian talks about. Again, the great geneticists, the fallen ones, whatever they are.
And Jay, even the Bible talks about Lucifer or these fallen angels being trapped on the earth, that they're bound on the earth, that they can't leave. They don't have access to the heavens anymore.
Exactly. So
they're stuck.
Why wouldn't they then create their own prison matrix to enslave in their permanent isolation from heaven, to be, in their fallen state? Not
we are in a prison within a prison.
Exactly. That's what I think is true. I really believe, and Robert now 100% believes that too. And he said, look, this is what Robert said. He goes, how did Tsarian, when he wrote that book in 2002, how did he know that? Because they didn't even find that barrier. And again, this is an announced NASA joint, Chinese and Russia. You can read about this. In 2014, they found that barrier that supposedly blocks, light and debris and, whatever from getting off the earth. So it's like, we now know that there is a barrier out there. So it's like, we have this acknowledgement of it by our science teams or science committees, but how would Tsarian in 2002 know that?
Well, would the Van Allen radiation belt have anything to do with that? That supposedly keeps some stuff on the earth. Well,
somebody can fact check me. You can Google this, but whatever the discovery in 2014 was of this field,
that
encapsulates I think it's not just the Earth. I think it's like the Moon and Mars. But it's if they did institute an etheric net to keep the dark ones, whatever, here, and there you go.
Yep.
So, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's obviously so many holes in a lot of these things. So anyway, we've been on for 1 hour and 7 minutes, and there's like 18 or between. There's been about between 18 and 28 people watching live. We really appreciate you guys watching live today.
On Facebook, right?
Yep, it's on Facebook. So again, Jeff, we've been recording this. Jeff is going to upload this to his channel.
Right afterwards.
Yep, absolutely. I'll give him the access to it as soon as it.
I've recorded it too, Jay, so I should have.
Okay, cool, awesome. Then I don't have to do that then. So guys, we'll just a couple minutes here before we get.
I think I recorded it.
Well, I haven't recorded either way, so whatever.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, so guys, if you're watching right now, if you have any questions from some of the stuff we talked about right now, I'd be happy to answer them. So just please type them in real quick. I'm sorry it's it's not as useful as being on YouTube, but I mean I wanted to throw this out to the Decoders of Truth Facebook group tonight.
Absolutely.
So here's a good one. So Sarian says the moon is the magnetic key to the barrier of Earth, which is probably true, right? So actually, something I wanted to say about this, because that woman, Jeff, that has like 12,000 followers on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Twitter, she's a famous debunker. Not a debunker, but she's actually kind of on our side. She's definitely a truther. But she went after Deke today, and I actually defended Deke because she said something about the bases on the moon, the assumed bases on the moon. And I said, assumed bases on the moon? Let's put it in very, very correct terms. The moon supersedes all the known laws of physics.
Yeah.
This is a fact. There are great books. Michael Barra, and then there's these guys from South America, and I forget the country. I think they're Argentinian. They wrote a book about the moon. And you guys can go on Amazon and you can just start reading about the books. But the moon should not be the way it should not be there. There's no explanation in physics, in physical terms, or in the realms of physics that we understand why the moon is where it's at. It's completely in like a reverse gravitational spin. It's clearly a satellite put there to do things to inflict whatever it's inflicting on Earth.
Are you talking about that book, Who Built the Moon?
Yeah, I mean, but there's a million of them. Barra wrote another one. There's so many books on the moon. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens did an episode on the moon before they went deep or what got corrupted or co-opted, about how it's hollow, and they know that it's hollow and that the way it moves. I've read stories too. That book, I forget that book, the moon book that I read about, but all of the craters on the moon are actually just shielding the debris.
Yeah.
This planet stays, capable of giving and producing life.
It's crazy. There's so much to think about.
Yeah. So I'm trying to see if anybody else wrote any other questions. There's 40 comments. See, that's the problem. I can't see them. Can you see the comments? Can you see
I don't
them?
even have Facebook anymore, Jay.
I can't see them. Let me see if I can see them. I don't think I can. No, I don't. I can't see him. That's the problem. You guys, I'm going to give you guys another 1 or 2 minutes if you're watching. I know there's a delay, but just type your questions in.
Jay, what's the white wolf over there?
Oh, man, when we were down in Puerto Vallarta in August, the guy was selling it. And whenever I travel, like I do, I always try to support the local artists.
Excellent.
It's amazing, actually. It's got green eyes. I don't know if you can see it.
I can't see that from here.
Yeah, it's just, I got that. And then the white dragon's like right below that. So it's like,
very cool.
By the way, I got this, which is really, really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like a Dominican steel. So they have like it's not an iguana. It's essentially like a very large salamander.
Yeah.
But they're very, very spiritual people. So I'm going to put this on the wall too. And then Monica got a really cool. And then I got my sales director for my real estate team, a giant, we call him the brown dragon. I got him this giant, like Komodo, which was hand carved in mahogany and brown mahogany.
Oh, beautiful.
So amazing. Yeah. Barely fit in our suitcase and brought that back. So, all right, guys. Well, I can't, nobody's typing questions in, or maybe, let me just hit refresh, because maybe they are. There's a lot of people watching. Maybe I just can't see it. That's why I hate doing these things on Facebook. They're useless. Like, for whatever reason, Zoom has never figured out like how to create a question and answer interface on Facebook. And now I can't even find our broadcast. I seriously, I just hit renew or refresh and it's not even there. There's so many people posting on the Decoders of Truth. I can't even find our broadcast.
Well, I will get it up on the YouTube channel forthwith.
Sorry, guys. I can't even find the broadcast right now. It should be live at the top of the page, and it's showing nothing. All I can see is things. Maybe this isn't. Am I still in the Decoders of Truth? Hold on. Let's try this again. Maybe not. Maybe that's the problem. No, that's why. Okay, so now there it is. Okay, so now the questions are showing up. I see them. Luke Atz mentioned me. Let me just see if I see my whatever. Great show. I'm not seeing anything else. Just see Jay Campbell. All right, guys, we're gonna shut it down. Thank you guys so much for watching. Jeff, do you want any final words?
No, I mean, I'm fascinated. I always love being here. And the more that we think we uncover, the more stuff that there is to uncover.
Yeah, it's good to have you back in the lab, man. Your sound quality and your production. This is a first class show again, and we are just getting started, as you're apt to say.
I was in a freaking closet over in Fort Lauderdale. Literally, I was in a closet, and it was so stupid. I felt like an idiot. Like Rocky, I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
Kentucky Fried Idiot. You still put out maximum production quality. You want to finish what you always say at the end of the show? Because I know you got that down pat.
Hey, you know, we appreciate you being here. We hope that you continue to ask questions and question answers. And folks, there is no doubt about it. We are the last generation of real humans, and Jay and I are here to help everybody get busy.
Absolutely. So, guys, if you are leaving questions and I cannot read them, I'm so sorry. Luke just tagged me, I think, in a question, but I cannot see it. If you guys are in the group and you're watching me, send me the message if it's an important question before Jeff and I shut it down, because I can't see it, man. I'm really, really sorry.
And I will get it loaded up to YouTube right after the show, so you can once it loads to YouTube, you can go in there and put questions. And I am obsessive about reading my comments on YouTube. So if you put one in, I guarantee you I'll read it. So don't try to be funny, because I will read it. And as soon as if it's dumb, I'll just take it out.
Yeah, and guys, honestly, like, man, support, Jeff, his work, buy his books. He's got a bunch of stuff on his YouTube channel that he's involved with. If you guys aren't using the Focus Life Force Energy, I can't say that. Please sign up, sign up under his referral or his affiliate link. Or mine. I mean, I don't really promote it as much. I need to start promoting it. I have too many things I'm promoting, but Fluffy is amazing.
It is.
Since Jeff and I added that to our life, everything has improved. There's no question that our awareness and our consciousness has elevated. And by the way, Shakina, if I'm not pronouncing your name right, she sent me a really nice message tonight, Jeff, and she said that they're going to create a super high conscious broadcast field for us when we do interview Bob.
Excellent. And they are, I'm just hours or days away from having the broadcast central here in the bunker at the high level Fluffy. Boom. It's even going to be better, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So the stuff is coming in. They just said, great show, guys. Amazing information. Thank you. I believe you're right about the fallen ones and the Matrix, blah, blah, blah. Yep. So yeah, you guys, great show. I'm gonna shut it down right now. Jeff and I are gonna talk here to finish up. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully next Monday we will be back on Jeff's channel.
Absolutely.
And if we're not, if he can't get back on the channel until then, we will go on YouTube, on the Decoders of Truth YouTube channel, which has about 1,400. But Jeff will, be able to send more people from his channel.
We'll do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys again so much, and you guys have a great night. We will see you guys next Monday.
All right, Jay. Nice to be with you, brother.
All right.